Hello there.
Hey, how's it going, Ramon?
All good here. Sorry, I can hear myself. Yeah, thank you. All good here. How are you, Taylor?
Doing well. I'm nice and relaxed, found a quiet spot on the road.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice. Glad to hear it. Yeah, Taylor, you're on the move. Tell us so in folks, in case you're haven't been here in a while, welcome back. This is Open Source Thursdays with Coatsy. We're joined by Taylor from Distribute Aid, and yeah, things have been going on. Taylor, why don't you give us a small update and maybe some background on Distribute Aid for those that are new to it?
totally. So it's been a couple of weeks since we've been last on the stream. Distribute Aid is Europe's largest grassroots aid logistics organization. So we organize the supply chains from donor to distribution. We work with a lot of grassroots organizations that collect aid, sorting through clothing and pulling out T-shirts or shorts, or buying some new items from the local store. We help them ship that to groups in the field, where they will set up a free shop or do a van side distribution to people on the move, and just trying to really take what's available in our societies and find a good use for it rather than throwing it out. We've just started our in-kind donor program, which has been a little bit too successful. So I've been scrambling these past couple weeks. We have a donation offer for 4.25 million high quality, washable, reusable masks. It's about 350 pallets worth. So logistically,
Wow.
it's a big project, but not something we can't handle. It's about 10 full trucks, 15 full containers of aid. The issue is finding out who needs these within the donor's time frame. So we've been reaching out to our partners in Lebanon, across Europe, and we just launched operations in the US. I know that Delta just hit there and trying to find, could we just blanket a school district with these masks? I know the governor of Florida is saying that schools can't have mask mandates. Well, you don't need mask mandates if you can just hand 2 masks out to every kid going to school if they want them, right? It's how can we protect people? Unfortunately, I could rant about politicians all day, but we're here to make a difference.
I'm actually from last place I lived in the United States was Florida.
Mm.
So I have a little bit of voting power there myself, and so I find myself involved there as well. So
Yep.
yeah, I feel you,
Get
Taylor.
dragged back to the States.
um, yeah, no, that's absolutely wonderful, and it's great to see that you're on. It's great to be able to get a glimpse of like what it's like to like going on the move and all that because you're correct me. You're at the border right now, or you're on your way back from the border.
I'm halfway back to Belgrade. Yesterday, we visited a project our partners run on the Serbian-Hungarian border. And so it's summertime and people go on game. So for people on the move, that means that they're trying to cross borders in order to claim asylum in a country that is safer, better suited to take care of them. So there's lots of people at the border living in squats or tents in the woods. And it's certainly not an easy life. And you know what? We don't judge these people. We try not to. We just are here to help people. So our partners have a project to provide clothing, medical showers, and other sorts of support for people in that region. And it was great to get a chance to drive up, say hi, take a look at their warehouse, reassess the needs they have, really develop a deeper understanding for what's going on in this part of Serbia so that we can work with all of the folks across the supply chain, thousands of kilometers away who are going to be sending aid to Serbia this summer, right?
That's amazing. That's amazing. It's as I said, it's incredible to be able to talk to you as you're on this journey at the moment. It's so wonderful that you take the time to do some coding here with us today. Folks, if
Absolutely.
you yeah, if you haven't been here for a while, folks, Taylor and I were last working on the Distribute Aid new landing page. and we are in the we were last week doing some filtering of shipments for different locations. Um, it was a good time. It was a good reminder of how humbling JavaScript and TypeScript can be. So yeah, the aim today is to keep going with that, get that page up and running. Now with that we've got those shipments, we're gonna start displaying them. And we're going to be using a pretty similar approach to how we did it last week. We'll be streaming one of our code bases. Taylor this week is kind enough to volunteer to do the driving. I'll do the navigating, and the rest of y'all in the chat, if you wanna chime in with ideas, examples, suggestions, please feel free. We're all in this together, and yeah, excited to hop in again. We're gonna start doing this. We're gonna start doing this more often now. Um, so as of today, we're going to start doing these on a weekly basis. So it's going to be super fun to just keep this ongoing. Hey, V Prevails. Nice to see you.
But
yeah. So let's hop right in. Taylor, is everything working on your end?
everything's good. Yeah.
Cool.
So hit that share button.
Yeah.
Here we go. Okay, and I only have one monitor, so someone's going to have to yell at chat suggestions for me.
I'll do it. We've got the wonderful. There we go. I hope the size looks good for everybody. If it looks okay for me on a small window.
Do I need to bump it up?
I think it's fine. Let's
okay.
If anybody on the chat, if it's too small, please feel free to say so. It's the best size as we rails, right? Thank you very much. Yeah, so we were working on on the GLMP Hack Day 2.
So kind of the last time we did this, I had done a global liquid mob programming event the weekend before. And we're kind of building on the work that those folks did, and that really inspired getting the audience involved. So yeah. I'm driving, Ramon is navigating, the rest of y'all are the ensemble or the mob, and it's crucial to stay engaged and give us suggestions. We're not experts by any means. I do more aid work than coding these days. So please, if you see us having a hard time with something, or you're a little bit more up to date in React or TypeScript than we are, go ahead and shout it out.
Yes, please. Much appreciated. Yeah, so we're going to start up our server now. And again, this is on a Git pod, which means that on my machine, I can actually follow along with what Taylor's doing. I'm just going to be watching the stream, though, to keep up. Which is just like, I don't know I don't know if anybody saw, they announced yesterday, GitHub announced something similar to Gitpod from what I understood, where you can just press the full space, the what is it called? The full stop button, and it opens up your repository in, the magical full stop. It opens up a repository in a GitHub code space, I think they're called. I don't think it's synchronous between us. I could be wrong. No, you know what? I'm not going to even try and say that.
I'm just wondering here where the URL is, because people can actually load up the URL here, right? So we can see what we're doing. Check the changes.
Absolutely. Here, I'm going to post it. I'm going to post it into our private chat here. That's the one.
Oh, not for Gitpod, but for the server that's running.
So that's the one I sent you.
Okay, is that?
It's prepended with an 8,000.
Gotcha. Good call. So
this is a cool, this is such a cool thing about Gitpod, that you can just I can open this same URL since it's running, on Gitpod, that any machine in the world can just fire this up, which is super cool. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, it's all good. And anyone on the audience can load this up here as well. If you want to see the changes in real time as we're making them. So the stack is Contentful, which feeds into Gatsby, which creates a GraphQL API. And we're pulling data from Contentful through that Gatsby GraphQL API to figure out which pages and components to generate. And then we render everything in React and style it with Tailwind. So you can see here, not super styled yet. I think we might have some designs on Figma for next time, Ramon. So we can focus
Ooh,
on some of the front end side and clean this up. But really, right now, we're still focused on the data architecture, using that pipeline to just get the right pages in place with the right content so that it's available, and then we can refine the styles. So I
awesome.
believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, but we were working on the where we work page, right?
That's correct.
Cool. And so last time we got these great images of the different regions up here. And you can click through. Let's take a look at Greece, for example. So I think we left it, we were looking at shipments, and it's a little bit complicated. There could be shipments from a region to a region, or even within the same region. We call those local transfers, where we're balancing aid
Mm.
out between the different refugee aid groups in a country like Greece. And then we wanted to list these different shipments. So we got a list here. There are definitely some repeats. For example, right here, there's 3 entries for what looks like the same shipment, which
Hmm.
it makes sense though, because there might be 3 different aid groups that had contributed to the shipment, and the way we're accessing it through the GraphQL API creates a couple of extra records, right? Um,
Hmm. But do they have the same ID?
I believe they do. We're going in and selecting shipments from this region. I think probably from the sub-region, and then we're going to the region. So what's happening here is that this shipment got split up, and there are 3 different sub-regions that received aid from this shipment. So let's say it was, we got Piraeus and Athens right here. There's the island of Lesbos and the
Right.
island of Samos. And so we're saying, hey, give us the subregions like Lesbos, Samos, and Athens that received aid, and then give us the region, and then we can select the shipments, that are going to Greece. But the way we're doing that, it's actually, that's why it's triple counting it, because there's 3 subregions there.
Ah,
So we just need to filter it out. We need to say, here's the list of everything, starting with the subregions that end up in this region, and now let's filter by ID, which I think that was the point we got to last time. There's 17 shipments loaded, and there's only 12 unique shipments, right?
right. But I think so. Shall we take a look at the code real quick?
Well, let's take a look at the code C to figure out what's going
Oh,
on,
yeah.
right?
Good call. Let's do that.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and start at the index page here. Let's get that code C running in verbose mode. Just
Cool.
give it a refresh to get this loaded. And then let's go to Greece, and that gets that load. Then we're good to go.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So
So,
I'm driving, you're navigating. Tell
oh,
me what
right.
to do.
Cool. Yeah. So this is the recording of Codesy. In case you're unfamiliar with it, recordings is the tool that we're working at here with Codesy to allow folks to understand their code better. And yeah, so what we've done here is captured everything that took place between the time that Taylor started recording and stopped recording. So you see here that the first thing that he did was load the Gatsby browser, and then we were at the where we work page. So if we scroll down a little bit, we did some rendering, React render completed. Let's scroll down a little bit more, and let's keep going.
Well, we clicked
Yeah.
on one of the links right there, so it shows up that the render
Oh,
completed, and then we
yeah.
clicked on the link, and then we were rendering the
The
region page
region
here.
page.
Mm-hmm.
So let's click on that region page template button to show us what took place there. So the there we can see on line 27. That's the last thing we did last
Mm-hmm.
week, which was to take all of the 2 shipments, that is the shipments going to Greece, comparing them with the shipments that were coming from Greece, and and removing the duplicates. No, only adding them to a new list if the one from the to shipments was not included in the from shipments. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think so. Let's we can take a look and step through and
Oh,
see what
yeah.
happened here.
Nice.
So,
Hmm.
wondering what happens when we. So if we step through, these are the different shipments that are being compared, and you can see the accumulator grow. So the accumulator, what value does that start off with? Because it looks like it started off with two different shipments. So in our reduce function, here we're starting it off with the from shipments
Yes.
from Greece, right? So that's two shipments right there, and then we're comparing as we go what's in the accumulator, um,
Mm-hmm.
right? If it has the shipment, if the accumulator already has the shipment, then we ignore it. If the accumulator doesn't have the shipment, then we add the shipment to the accumulator. And that
Yeah.
prevents the duplicates, right?
That prevents the duplicates between the two.
Exactly. There might still be duplicates in the from array, so we might need to guard against that or do a loop through that. But at least this way, we're not adding a shipment, that was on both sides or something like that. And we can
Correct.
see that as we step through. That first one looks like it was already in the accumulator, and now we step through again, and we have three different shipments. So it's really easy to see. What was cool last time was we were able to actually look at the data here, right? And so we could verify the code was working correctly by looking at the contentful ID. Why did it add a shipment this time and not last time, for example, right? Is this one already in there? 3EMA. That one's already in there, so it hasn't increased the length of our accumulator array. It looks like this one is new, so it has.
Nice.
Yep.
This is a really nice way to be able to look at it.
It's fun. It's just, you can write code and it gets complex. There's lots of details, right? So just
Yeah.
being able to slow down and step back and look at real data available from Contentful and find out why it's doing a certain thing, or look at real data available from your tests, for example, right? Very, very helpful. So should we take a look at some of the code?
Let's do it.
Cool.
So I think the first thing we want to do, let's open up that region page.tsx. I think it's under
This can be
templates.
templates. Yep.
There we go. So the first thing I would like to do is to remove those counts. I don't think we need those. What do you think?
I agree with you. The console.log statements,
Yes.
or it wasn't. We were spitting it out in the
It was above the image, I think.
right.
If you scroll just a touch higher. There
Oh,
we go.
yep. Take
That's the
those
one.
out.
Cool. Next, do we want to try and get the unique ones out of there?
Yeah. Let's take a look. Let's hook up this accumulator. So this is all shipments right there, and we're printing um,
Oh,
two shipments and from shipments.
oh,
So rather
yeah,
than do both of them, let's make a table here. I'm going to call this all shipments.
perfect.
Cool. Good
Yeah,
call.
let's have the title, and then instead of mapping over two shipments, let's map over all shipments. Let's
Cool.
also remove line 68 since we won't need that JSON dump, and let's remove lines 69 through 72 since we won't be concerned with the from shipments anymore. Cool. Let's refresh the page and take a look at how it looks. So now
There
the
you go.
counts are gone, which is
Yep.
excellent. And now we've got that title with what should be 12. 12, yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes. 12 shipments.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually, do you know what? I don't see any duplicates.
I don't. So this might be a good point, maybe to write some tests around this and make sure that we're not duplicating shipments in the from array or the to array. But I think for right now, let's keep going down the track that we are going down. And it looks good to me.
Excellent.
Cool.
So what's next is to deliver some more of the to show some more of the data that we are getting from those shipments in the table. We'll keep it simple for now. Show this table with a couple more columns. Let's take another look in the back in the code at the GraphQL query we made, because we pulled in some delivery data for that. We've got delivered on name slug. Sorry, on line 110. Yeah.
Yep.
Name, slug, number of pickups, number of drop-offs, total commercial value, distance, weight, CO2. We got quite a few things we can display here.
Mm-hmm.
Would it make sense to display the date of delivery, the value, weight, distance, and CO2?
Yeah, that sounds like a great start, and that's kind of for the shipment as a whole. So we have delivered on, and
Yeah,
then total commercial value, total distance, total weight, total CO2.
perfect.
Awesome.
Yeah, that sounds great. Let's
Okay.
scroll back up, and in our table, let's start by adding a few table headers.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got one per column. So the first one would be date delivered. Then we've got total commercial value. Perfect. We've got weight, total weight. Perfect. So each of these is going to be a column. That's why we're adding the th element, which is a header. Then we got distance.
And that's in kilometers, I believe.
Ah, good
Yeah.
point. Do you know what the weight is in? Is it
Oh,
kilograms?
would be kilograms. We are operating in not the states over here, so we use normal
Ah,
measurements.
perfect.
Yeah.
You won't see me complaining.
Maybe for an American audience in the future, you can have a little drop down, like you choose a different language, or you can choose, normal world standard measurements, or Funland, right?
Here, V prevails writes, "Woo, normal measurements." Then we've got the CO2, total CO2 emissions. I would, is that, I'm bad at this. That's weight or volume?
The total CO2 emissions, I believe that's weight actually. If you want, we can open up Flexport and see what the Flexport tool says about CO2 to get the actual measurements. Or we could keep going and assume it's weight for now.
Sure, I'm happy to go with weight. Meters,
Okay.
kilograms, everywhere. Agreed, V prevails.
I think
um,
that one might be in tons, like carbon tons or something like that.
yeah.
I forget. This is where it gets confusing with the British because they have tons with an NES, and
Yep.
then there's the metric tons, and then there's the US tons based on pounds. Um,
Yeah. No,
let's go with
there's,
this and double check
let,
it.
sounds good.
Cool.
Cool. So if let's refresh our page and just take a look that we've got those headers now.
There we go.
Beautiful. Yeah. Does it? I mean, we'll go ahead and style this with Tailwind to give ourselves a little bit of breathing room there. Um, but in the meantime, let's go ahead and extract that data um, from each shipment. because what we've got in line 66, right? We've got a loop that returns one one tr, which is a table row, and one td, that which is a column cell for every row.
Yep.
So we'll do one td per element, per value.
Mhm.
So let's go ahead and write another td here. And those values, the names of those values will be those of the those that we saw in the GraphQL query. So the first one will be shipment dot delivered on. Do you know what I'll do? I'll pull up here then the section in the GraphQL so we get the
Yep.
delivered on. Yeah, this is camel case. Exactly. Shipment dot total commercial value camel case.
Nice.
Then we've got shipment total weight. Is it weight? Yes, it's weight. Total distance. And the last one is CO2, total CO2. Is that a zero or an O?
I'm not sure. I think it should be an O, but maybe we've
And
actually put it in GraphQL as a 0.
the GraphQL shows a 0. Yeah.
Okay. Should coders adopt the alpha bravo kind of deal? How many bugs have crashed something important because we say O and mean 0, or vice versa?
I'm starting to see some things for like passwords and stuff for putting in codes in like graphical keyboards, and what they do is they only allow one of the two. So like between I and L, they'll only allow L. And I think this is really clever because it just eliminates that possibility of errors.
Makes a lot of sense. Cool. Take a look.
Yeah, let's do it.
Nice. Oh,
perfect.
I do a lot of work in spreadsheets, so seeing a well-formatted table just brings so much joy to my heart.
Yeah, this looks good. This looks great. I would even say we can go ahead and do we want to commit this for now?
Yep, it's a good pausing point. We got what we wanted. We kind of took out some of the in progress, information that we were logging out there, and we have the new information displayed. Let's make a commit, right?
Sounds great.
Cool. Now, where do I get the?
I don't actually know. Because you hit it.
I closed it to show more of the code.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think at the nope. Where is
the view? Here we go. View terminal, right?
Oh, you found it.
There we go.
Nice.
Cool.
If you actually see, I've got two of them running. If you look on the right hand side, there's two bashes. So the other one will allow us to do our git committing stuff without stopping the server.
Cool. Yep. I'm logged into your GitHub.
Right.
Nice. Just trying to make sure the commit will go through.
Yeah. I hope you don't mind my stealing your work.
It's our work together.
So let's see. You just did a git diff, is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Just taking stock of what we've done. We've removed the counts. We've formatted the table. All shipments. Show all the shipments.
Yep. Got rid of that JSON that was coming out there. And that's it. That makes sense to me.
Yeah, sounds good. So we're doing a git add and a git commit. Now this would be a feature.
Yep. Yeah. For the audience, we like to use conventional commits. You can Google for it. There's a web page there, and it's just a way to add a little bit of structure and information, for these quick one-liner style commits, just indicating what it's about. So you can have features, you could have bug fixes, you could have maybe chores if you're just updating the dependencies for the project or something. And then you can scope them if you want to, which might be helpful, like chore, dependencies, or depths, or something like that. In this case, we're working on a feature, but I don't think we need to scope it because it's part of the main project feature set, right? So what are we doing here, Ramon?
Yeah, let's see. We've tidied the code and added the shipment data to the table. Um, shipment data table.
This is the regions page table, right?
Correct.
Table. And then remove the
Statements?
yeah,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
Cool. And everything
Great.
got auto formatted, which is super nice and handy.
Fantastic.
Yeah. I love doing Git statuses, so just all the time in Git to make sure that I know what the current state is, or what Git thinks the current state is.
I'm exactly the same. I think I've been known to dump a lot of Git statuses into other text fields I'm writing.
Why can't you go to your email and type in Git status and it'll...
Oh, I've definitely done that also, like with typing Vim shortcuts into, like, I'll write out a tweet and then do :Q. It's a bad habit.
That's fun. That's fun.
When you
Okay.
Slack people with GST.
Yep.
That too. I've done that too. Yeah, cool. So we've done that. Now, the next thing that would be nice to have, correct me if I'm wrong, would be to somehow differentiate whether this is a shipment coming from Greece or from a region or to a region.
Yeah, that would be super cool. And just to give some folks an example with Greece, which is the region page that we're focusing on right now, we do a lot of international shipping from the UK or the Netherlands or Germany to groups that we support in Greece. We're also about to, I think, have our first shipment from Greece. There's 100,000 masks in a warehouse in Athens, which we're sending to the Serbian Red Cross. So we're kind of, transferring those between different regions on the front lines that we support. And they got those from a donor in Germany or something, and they had to take them all, but didn't necessarily need them all. So we found another home where they can be put to good use. And then there's shipments that are both to and from the same region. We call those internal transfers. A great example with Greece right here is that there are something like 18,000 rapid COVID tests, the antigen test or something that you can, get results back in minutes on the island of Lesbos. And a group there said, we have too many. We don't need, this extra pallet. We have 3. We don't need the 4th or something like that. Who wants them? And so we were able to reach out to our network, and we found an educational project in Athens. A lot of these really important educational or other psychosocial projects had to shut down during COVID because it simply wasn't safe to get people together in a closed, classroom environment or social center or something. And the camps were pretty locked down, so people couldn't even leave the camps. Now that things are starting to normalize a little bit, they'd like to restart their project, but of course, with volunteers coming in and folks from different camps or different parts of Athens coming in to learn together, it's very difficult to keep it COVID safe. And so these rapid antigen tests mean that they can test every student every day to really make sure that no one who's coming in there has COVID and would spread it to the other students or the volunteer staff. And that gives them the confidence to reopen this project. So these local transfer shipments are a great way to balance out aid across groups within the same region. And that means that it gets to go to use instead of sitting around a warehouse. And we don't have to go find what's needed somewhere else and then ship it all the way across Europe to Athens in this case, which would be take a lot longer and cost more money, and just isn't necessary because it's right there on the island of Lesbos.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. So important, different shipments, depending on the directionality of them, let's say, they mean different things to us. They're all important, and it'd be nice to say, okay, this was coming in from somewhere else, or, this is going to support somewhere else, or this is groups working together locally in our network. Yeah. How do we approach this, Ramon? We got
Yeah.
yeah.
So first, I want to say hi, Liz. Thank you for joining us. Yeah. So okay. So correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm misunderstanding. We essentially have the hey Grayson. um. So correct me if I'm wrong. We essentially will have three categories. Is that
Mhm.
correct? We will
Yep.
differentiate between incoming, outgoing, and in tran. Sorry, sorry.
Local transfers.
Local transfers. Local transfers. Cool. Um, awesome. So, and we don't exactly. Thank you for noting that down. So we will. So we've got all of our shipments. We've been able to extract the unique ones. Do we have that data? I I guess we don't have that data right off the bat, right?
Um,
Coming in from GraphQL.
well, let's take a look at GraphQL and see if we have something in shipments that would indicate it. So this is the two regions right here, and we're getting shipments from the region just in case. It looks like we're pulling the same data. So after
Yeah.
we do that reduce and kind of find the unique ones,
Mm-hmm.
here we go. We have from subregions on each shipment and to subregions on each shipment. So I think we can just look at the shipment by itself and
Yeah.
say, is it, coming from the region page that we're on, right? Like Greece in this case, or is it going to the region page, or is that both?
Both.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let's let's how about we use Codesy to take a look
Yeah.
at that data as it's coming in.
And that's a
Um,
great point to break out to Codecy, because this is kind of like, what's possible or what's in GraphQL. But we actually want to see, do these shipments really have these fields filled out, and get a sense just by looking at the actual data. Let's, make it a bit more real instead of abstract, right?
totally.
Cool.
Let's let's click on the Codesy button. Start that recording. Let's refresh the page. Great. And now, yeah, stop that recording and take a look. So now that we've seen our recording, we've loaded the page. We didn't actually do any user events.
Mm-hmm.
So we loaded the page. There's the region page template. That's the one we want to click on.
Sweet.
And
We
let's,
have we can look at maybe the output after the accumulator function, right?
yes, yes, exactly. So let's
Oh,
take a look at, exactly. So there, exactly. I don't know why I'm pointing. You can't see me where I'm pointing.
I can only see the code C or the yeah.
Let's expand that first one. So this is one shipment. And as we saw, we have that from subregions list. So let's expand that one. Yeah. And inside there, that's a subregion. And inside there, we've got a region. which has a contentful ID, a name, and a slug. So we could use that contentful ID to check if it's the same as our contentful ID. Is that
And where
right?
do we find the page's contentful ID? We're pulling that, so we have a variable called region right here.
Yeah.
We want to see if the region's contentful ID
Yeah.
matches one of the shipments from subregions contentful IDs. If any one
Yeah.
of those match, and I think at this point, really, at a regional level, a shipment's coming from one region or going to one region. We usually don't do a pickup in the UK and then a second pickup in Germany, for example. But based on the data structure, there could be multiple subregions, or there could even be multiple subregions that are part of a different region. So we should just be a bit safe.
Totally.
Cool.
Great. So with that information, we can go ahead. Now, what I would suggest is that when we'll perhaps have to we have a few places where we can do this. I was either going to suggest that we just render conditionally, that is, have an if statement in our rendering that if it's this, we display this, if it's that way, we display that, and so on. Or while we're accumulating these, as you can, as where you are now, we can take, I was going to say we can take that and
We
add
could
it
do a
there.
calculation here and modify the shipment or something, right?
I think the problem with that is going to be that we're going to start with the from shipments, which won't have that data.
Would it make
So
sense? Like, do we need to start with the from shipment since we're already doing the find in the accumulator here? Could we do like all shipments is I think before we were working on concatenating from shipments and to shipments, then we found duplicates, and then we did this reduce. Should we start with a list of the concatenated from shipments and to shipments, then reduce that to find all shipments, and we just start the accumulator with an empty array?
yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
All right.
Let's do that.
We did need some help for the chat last time to figure out array concatenation. So
let's concatenate array. Concatenate one, add the to from. Yes, as vprevail suggests. Oh yeah, and in the concatenated one, add the to from. Exactly. Perfect. So that would be in JavaScript. How do we array prototype concat? Cool. So what you can do is call two shipments. Sorry,
okay.
two shipments dot concat from shipments.
Okay, cool. And now we need to be careful with const because we can't reassign this. And so this is all shipments maybe with duplicates.
Yeah.
Just use thorough naming so that we know that this particular array might contain duplicates or something like that. And then we can go ahead and do our reduction function.
Exactly. That's what vprevail suggests.
Empty array there. And now we have all shipments, presumably without duplicates.
So essentially, nothing should change.
Let's make sure of that, though, right?
Totally.
Cool.
Do you want to maybe open a separate tab so we can combine them? That's my lazy way.
Yep.
That's my lazy way of comparing.
That would be really cool with CodeC. I want a bell on these streams. I can ding, 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 feature request or something.
I'm going to make a note of that.
Right? That would let's get all soundboardy with it. Maybe I'm just dipping into watching too much Always Sunny, but I'm pretty sure there's an episode where they tried to do a podcast there, and it was just a whole bunch of different soundboard noises at the end. But yeah, ding, 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 feature request. If we could compare CodeC runs Like we just did a run, right? And then we made this change, and we want to actually make sure that even though we changed the code, the output of the code at a data level through the run shouldn't be different, right? So can I capture a run, refactor some code, capture it again, and basically do a diff? In this case, we're expecting there to be no data level changes. Maybe if we added the columns or something, we'd expect certain functions or certain parts of the code to have data level changes, but something like the GraphQL, like kind of input data shouldn't change, right?
Ooh, I like that a lot.
Everyone in the chat, thumbs up. Someone making
Yeah.
cool.
So this is the new one,
Mm-hmm.
and on the previous tab, it should be the old one.
Yeah. So let's
Hopefully
just
it'll be the same.
flip through them real quick. Looks like there is something slightly different,
It's
but
the
it's just
order.
the first two, the order, right? For those first two
Phew.
right there.
I mean, eventually we should probably add sorting.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yep.
one thing at a time.
One thing at a time. Cool. Well, hey, that's great. That's what we expected.
So V Prevails is asking, is it still clear which one was to and which one was from? Yes, because we've got those from subregions and to subregions, which will then give us access to the region itself. So we
Mm-hmm.
still have access to which region it's coming from and which region it's coming to.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. Yeah.
Good deal.
Good question. Thank you.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
cool. So now that we're iterating through every single shipment, I guess in line 41, yeah.
Line
So
41 right here before we push it onto the
exactly,
accumulator, right?
and this is where we'd be able to set a category for it. So I would suggest calling this new attribute category.
Yep.
So, cool. Thank you. So we first have category.
Something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Now, how do we want to do this? Do we want to make it a number or a string? I guess a string for now, like a category string.
Yeah, like an enum or something using
Yeah.
consistent strings. That makes sense to me.
Yep, same
Um,
here. So we can go, let's add an if statement. So we will check, the first one will be if it's incoming. So that'll be shipment dot sub. Oh wait, let me open up the GraphQL here. Shipment dot from subregions.
Right. We're
It
going
can
to
be
need to
from more
do
than
like
one.
a find just in case. Yeah, you could have a pickup in Glasgow and a pickup in Cambridge, what we call a double pickup shipment. You kind of get half and half. And
Gotcha.
then now those are both in the UK region, right? But since the shipments, we want to be able to track that, maybe even eventually show this at a sub-regional level. There might be multiple from subregions.
Gotcha. So yeah, you're right. We'll need a find. Let's extract that into a function, shall we?
Sounds good. So what
I
we
feel
want to do is like can we write the function call here and then go make the function that works.
write the function call here and
So
yeah.
you were
Cool.
saying earlier like shipments dot not shipments page.
You mean like if shipment? Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, what's the it's just shipment dot category equals
And in a string, call it
something like that.
brilliant.
We I
Brilliant.
like it when you're just reshuffling the same two or three words across one line and the computer knows how to make sense of it.
Oh, I had this. At I was doing a React from scratch workshop this weekend. It was in Spanish, and we were challenged to do some exercises in React, and I had GitHub. What's it called? The new GitHub thing? GitHub, the AI one. Copilot cheating for me.
There you go.
Copilot. That's it. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks me for real. So yeah, we want this shipments and shipment. It'll need the list, and it'll need the
Will it need the full shipments list here?
no, you're
The
right.
shipment itself.
No, you're totally right. You're totally right. It'll just need the shipment and I guess the region. Do we have access to the region here?
Oh, yep. It will need the region, right? So we should. We have the region right there. So does it make sense to pass the region first and the shipment second? How should we order the params here?
I always say if we're doing something to something, then that first something will be the first. Yeah. Somewhere in my head that made sense.
Makes sense to me. Okay.
Grayson writes, Copilot's a magical frustration. When it works, it's magical, but it gets things more often than not currently. Yeah, I haven't used it much myself. I was just surprised to see it there the first time this weekend. I was like, oh yeah, this. Anyway, right. So if you need data from shipment, you can destructure inside your categorize shipment function, vPrevail suggests. That's an excellent point. If we're going to be using data from that shipment, and we don't really care about the shipment itself, I guess we could take the from subregions and to subregions, but
right, because those are the two bits that we need to check, right?
Yeah.
And we just need to return a magic string here. So is that the right thing there? It could be from subregions.
Oh.
And that's going to be an array, then two subregions, which will also be an array of any.
Oh.
How does TypeScript work?
How does TypeScript work? Let's have a look. Good call, vPrevails. I forgot that we can do the. Is that called hoisting? I'm not good at this. I'm not going to even try. From subregions to subregions.
You know what might be a bit clearer here is I like these shortcuts for sure, but when you're reading that, you can't tell what the outer structure is. So let's call it shipments, any. And then we can do.
We can do the hoisting there.
Something like that, yeah. Where could we do like from as an array and to as an array?
But we need to call them from subregions and to subregions, right? Because those are the subregions, and then equals shipments.
Yeah, it's shipments with no S.
Yes.
Shipments. Yay, it works.
I do love that feature of JavaScript, TypeScript and JavaScript that it can do this. It's super cool.
Yeah. Okay. So
nice.
we got this from subregions and to subregions. We got to see if any of those have a region that matches here. And then we're going to return one of three things, right? There's going to be some sort of like if X and Y, like if it matches both of them, return internal transfer.
Yep.
Else if X, return what that'd be. What did we put down? Incoming or outgoing.
Yeah.
Else if Y, return outgoing. And then we really shouldn't hit a final else case here because the GraphQL query is structured to make sure that they're at least coming from or going to a shipment, maybe both. So we might want to do like a console.log.
Invalid shipment? No.
Some sort of something there. That's where I'd
Yeah.
like it to send me a page or something like, Taylor, your landing site has done something out of bounds. Apologies to all the devs who actually have to be on call at their jobs. I joke, but I'm sure it's stressful sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay. Time to fill in the blanks, right?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
So, the first case for an internal transfer would be or no, we'll need two. I would say we'd need two Boolean values. One is incoming, is incoming. Yeah, or that. Yeah.
We do like the JavaScript let you do the question mark? No, I think that's
I know Ruby does that, and Elixir does that.
Elixir. That's where I'm getting it from.
Yeah. And there we do the find.
Right. So from two subregions, if we're doing incoming, right?
Yes.
Because it's incoming from somewhere else going to Greece. So find, and then we have a subregion, and we want to return true or false here.
Yes. And that is two subregions. Right. That is so subregion. Right.
Dot region, right? The subregion's region.
Dot region. Dot contentful ID. 3 equals region dot contentful ID.
There we go. Nice. That's pretty concise. It's not
like that.
complicated. We're just saying in all these subregions, if they're part of a region which matches the region we're looking at, it's incoming.
Nice. Great.
Cool.
So next we do the same, but for is outgoing. Subregion. That's actually as good as the same line.
Sweet.
Nice.
Nope, that's
That's a magic JSX.
yeah. Okay, and then if it's an internal transfer, it's both, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So now if it's I
So I think
love
we
this.
just have to replace the blanks we left for ourselves, and we're good to go.
Mm-hmm. So if is incoming or is outgoing, yeah. And is incoming, then we return internal transfer.
Yep. I'm just going to reorder lines 26 here and put that first, just to be consistent with how we're looking at subregions into it can be leaving, it could be coming, it could be leaving and coming in, which means it's going somewhere else.
Perfect.
So I'll do the same here. Yeah, I can just copy because we left the error case instead of just assuming it will work. So if it is outgoing, you know what I really like about this? It makes it really easy to write the code because the Boolean names really match the enum that we're trying to return, the string, right? So it's very simple to see we're returning outgoing, is outgoing should be true.
No, this is lovely.
Easy to match it up. So I think that's our categorize shipment function right there, right?
Indeed.
Cool. Should we just do another column to output shipment category for right now? Because we are coming up on the hour. I know I like to run long, but it's
no worries. I'm
yeah.
all good here.
Okay.
Let's definitely get this working.
Mm-hmm. So let's go ahead and put it right after the title.
Perfect.
And
this is so exciting because we essentially edited the data.
Yeah. I really like that in data work. Like if it's easy to derive data from data that exists, right?
Totally.
Okay, it's giving me, it implicitly has an any type warning, but that's fine. Cool. Let's run this and see if it works, or if not, we can use code C to find out. Why not?
Excellent.
Sweet. Uh-oh.
So cannot read property find of null. So it looks like
regions null on some of these.
Mm-hmm.
Let's find out why, because I thought we looked at some that worked in code C, right?
Yeah.
So these are...
Oh, hold on. It's from regions.nodes.
Ah, okay.
So what we got to do, if you go to line... Wait a minute. I'm misunderstanding this. Can we take another look at the code C?
Yeah. So this is the...
from regions, my bad. So if we go to from regions, there's our nodes. And each of these is a shipment.
A shipment, right?
Yeah. And in there, from subregions, we've got a list.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
So maybe there's just some shipments that don't have data entered on the from or on the to side, right?
Right.
So here, for example, from subregions is null.
It's null.
Where it's from. So we need to perhaps guard against that.
Good call.
Just because I know that the data is a bit messy still.
Oh, but that's a good catch. So isn't coming should be.
So
I think the easiest way to do that would be from subregions.length is bigger than 0. No. How do we check if something is null in TypeScript?
We just say it's not null.
Oh yeah, and then we do an and. So.
Mm-hmm. Something like that.
Yeah, perfect.
Cool. That's what I love about Elixir is that you can set up functions with all these guards at the functional level, and you don't have to do all the kind of type checking. Yeah.
Check out what vPrevails recommends. From some regions or empty array. I gotta admit, I like this.
Okay.
It's giving me some Ruby vibes. I like it.
But where do we put that in?
So delete what we just wrote. So the from subregions or not equals null. Yeah. And then surround from subregions in parentheses. And then do the or empty array. I like this.
That's fun. Yeah.
I like this. It's elegant. I like it.
Now I am going to add a comment here.
I'm sure it'll work.
I'm sure it'll work. But just because this is some advanced Ruby style JavaScript, and we have to make sure that
Oh yeah,
all of our volunteers can hack on the code. I just want to say from subregions might be null, guard against that. So now they have
good
the
call.
context of like, why is there this weird from subregions or to subregions or array kind of deal? And it's like,
Yeah,
oh, okay, it's because they're, the data might not be there, and then this part makes sense to them
perfect. Yeah, good
and to
call.
me in 6 months.
Yeah, good call. One of the things I learned about when I was teaching children to code was that oftentimes just because it's short and elegant does not make it more straightforward to understand. So adding that context is super important as well.
And it looks like it worked. That's awesome.
Oh
There
my
we
goodness,
go.
look at that.
We did it.
Oh
Um,
wow.
cool. So we got our one incoming shipment.
Ah,
Well, we got a lot of incoming shipments, and then this makes sense. We did an internal transfer from Thessaloniki going to the island of Chios. So northern Greece there, going out to this island. Everything else is coming from outside of Greece going in. And we haven't logged the one with the masks. That one there is still waiting to get loaded up. So I think we did it. This is
this
great.
is excellent. Nice one. V Prevails, thank you so much for your help. Like this is dope. I love it. I do love that line when you wrote up there. Oh, this is great. Cool. Well, seeing as we are up on the hour, let's go ahead and commit that.
Yep.
Excellent. So what we did here was a feature, categorize and display.
Nope. No. You read. I'll type.
Oh, sorry. Categorize shipments and display categories. There's got to be a better way to say that. On the regions page. Perfect.
Cool.
Nice.
Nice one.
Hey, thank you, and thank you all. That was super fun. Awesome. Yeah. So here I'll take us back. Thank you. Yeah. Well, that was super fun. Thank you so much, Taylor, for coming on. Thank you all in the chat for joining in. We'll be back next week to continue on this. Get more data in there. I would love to get those icons working.
Yep.
Or some kind of icons. And well, thank you again. Thank you all for joining in. I'm glad you had fun, V Prevails. Yeah, thanks a lot, everyone. Have a great rest of your weekend. Taylor, get home safe.
Thanks. Yeah, I appreciate everyone putting up with a little bit of background noise here. A lot of fun to know we can do this on the road. And we'll catch y'all next week to keep it rolling.
Looking forward.
Cool.
Take care, everyone.
Take care, everybody. Bye.
Bye-bye.